In this lesson, as part of our Arduino training series, we will be learning about the distance sensor, also known as the ultrasonic distance sensor. We are all quite familiar with the distance sensor, especially since it is widely used in automobiles as a parking sensor to help drivers park more easily based on how close or far an object is. In this lesson, we will explore how we can implement such functionality using Arduino and understand how it all works in practice. First, we will focus on understanding the working principle of the distance sensor in detail. Then, we will move on to implement a project. In our upcoming lessons, we will continue working on more projects involving the distance sensor. Specifically, we will also learn how to display the measured distance information on both a 7-segment display and an LCD screen. So let's begin by learning how the distance sensor actually works. Before we move on to our example projects, we will examine in full detail how the ultrasonic distance sensor works. We need to apply a 5 volts voltage to the VCC pin of our ultrasonic distance sensor to power it properly. And we need to connect the GND pin to the ground line of our circuit to complete the electrical path. The trigger and echo pins should be connected to the digital input-output pins of the Arduino board. The digital pin we connect to the trigger pin should be defined as an output because it will send a signal. Meanwhile, the digital pin we connect to the echo pin should be defined as an input because it will receive the returning signal. This ultrasonic sensor uses sonar to determine the distance to an object, just like bats or dolphins do. It is also known as an ultrasonic transducer, based on the transmitter and receiver and mainly used to determine the distance from the target object. It emits an ultrasound at 40,000 Hz which travels through the air, and if there is an object or obstacle on its path, it will bounce back to the module. So the distance sensor sends out sound waves or ultrasonic pulses towards an object in its line of sight. These sound waves bounce back after hitting the object and return to the sensor. We calculate the distance between the object and the sensor using the time it takes for the ultrasonic sound waves to travel to the object and return back. The working voltage of the distance sensor is 5 volts and it draws approximately 15 milliamps of current from the circuit. The measurable range of this sensor is between 2 centimeters and 400 centimeters. Our ultrasonic distance sensor can accurately measure distances between 2 centimeters and 200 centimeters with a precision of 1 centimeter. Now, let's mathematically analyze how this measurement is actually calculated. Ultrasonic signals travel at the speed of sound. At 20 degrees Celsius in dry air, the speed of sound is approximately 343 meters per second. That means sound waves travel 343 meters in 1 second under these conditions. These sound waves are emitted from the sensor at a spreading angle of approximately 15 degrees. When measuring distance, we use the total time it takes for the signal to hit the object and return back to the sensor. If we divide this total time by 2, we get the time it takes for the signal to travel just to the object. This same time value represents the time from when the signal leaves the sensor until it hits the object, and also the time from the object back to the sensor. While performing calculations using the ultrasonic distance sensor, we will work with time in microseconds. Since sound travels 343 meters in 1 second, we must calculate how far it travels in 1 microsecond, which is 1 millionth of a second. 1 second is equal to 1 million microseconds, which is written as 10 to the power of 6 microseconds. So we first divide the number 343 by 1 million to convert it to the distance traveled per microsecond in meters. Since the result is in meters, we multiply it by 100 to convert it into centimeters. Therefore, 343 divided by 1 million multiplied by 100 equals 0.033 centimeters. This value represents the distance that a sound wave travels in 1 microsecond in centimeters. Using this value, we can now calculate the distance based on how long the signal took to return. So by taking the total time for the sound signal to travel to the object and come back and multiplying it by this value, we can find the actual distance. The time required for an ultrasonic signal to travel 1 centimeter is approximately 29.15 microseconds. If we take a closer look at the mathematical formulas used for distance measurement with the ultrasonic sensor, we see that the first method is based on the formula distance equals time multiplied by speed. For example, if the total round-trip time of the signal is 500 microseconds, we first divide that number by 2 to get the one-way travel time. Since the signal travels to the object and then returns, we need to find the time of just one direction. Then we multiply this one-way time value by the speed, which is 0.033 centimeter per microsecond. So we multiply 250 microseconds by 0.033, and from this calculation, we find the distance between the object and the sensor. The result is 8.575 centimeters, which is the measured distance. In the second method, we use the formula distance equals time divided by the time it takes to travel 1 unit of distance. Here, the unit time refers to the time required for the signal to travel 1 centimeter, which we said is 29.15 for microseconds. Again, we divide the total round-trip time by 2 to get the one-way travel time of the signal. Then, we divide this value by the time it takes for sound to travel 1 centimeter, and the result is the distance. So using the formula 500 divided by 2 and then divided by 29.154, we again calculate the distance as 8.575 centimeters. In this lesson, we examined the working principles of the ultrasonic distance sensor and the mathematical formulas used to calculate distance. For some learners, it is sufficient just to get the distance measurement result, and they may not care much about the technical details. These learners tend to focus only on the final outcome rather than understanding every process. On the other hand, some learners care deeply about every small detail during the learning process and aim for complete and thorough understanding. That's why we include detailed explanations in our lessons so that our training appeals to all types of learners. I personally also belong to the group of learners who prefer to understand everything in full detail during the learning process, because I believe that by understanding everything now, we can reduce the time we'll spend solving problems in the future. See you in the next lesson, and until then, take care.